Hello Moto GP fans. Welcome back to ZNGP Today. Ducati pushed its 2027 850cc prototype further at Mugello, combining aerodynamic iterations with the surprise addition of Nicolò Bulega to accelerate dry running development. The session underlined Ducati's iterative approach, testing multiple aero configurations, leveraging Pirelli experience, and using both veteran and emerging riders to refine the package ahead of next year's regulation reset. Claudio Domenicali framed Ducati's current moment as a natural competitive reset while outlining concrete steps toward the future: an academy to build complete riders, targeted technical development with riders like Nicolò Bulega, and a refusal to romanticize past dominance. Speaking from Misano, he balanced pride in Ducati's achievements with a clear, forward-looking strategy to respond to a tighter field. Pirelli admits it is disappointed to see Ougura leave Trackhouse for a factory move, but the factory's leadership publicly backs Davide Brivio to pick the right replacement. Ougura's departure underlines the fluid rider market ahead of 2027 and highlights how talent pipelines, team strategy, and contractual timing shape the paddock's next moves. Yamaha's V4 prototype showed measurable changes at Jerez. Augusto Fernandez called it 30% different. Yet the improvements fell short of closing the gap to the front. The wildcard outing delivered useful data on handling, front-end feel, and setup direction, but it also underlined that the project still lacks a reliable base setting and that more development time is needed before the M1 can consistently fight at the front. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. Michel Pirot ran two distinct GP27 configurations, one continuing the Misano concept and another featuring a windscreen with winglets closer to the current Desma set-aside layout. The dual-bike approach lets engineers compare stability, airflow and rider feedback in real time. Running contrasting aero setups in the same test compresses development cycles by producing direct comparisons under identical track conditions. Nicolò Bulega's appearance was moved forward because of a rain forecast, giving Ducati a chance to exploit his Pirelli familiarity from World SBK. His late notice arrival turned Mugello into a valuable opportunity to gather tire-specific feedback for the GP27. Riders with recent experience on a supplier's compounds can shorten the learning curve for tire-bike interaction, especially during early prototype work. With Pirelli set to become MotoGP's sole supplier in 2027, the tire maker supplied a fresh batch of compounds and rain tires for the test. Ducati's decision to prioritize dry running before the forecasted rain reflects the premium placed on usable dry data for aero and chassis validation. Early collaboration between manufacturers and the tire supplier is critical when a new tire regime is introduced. It shapes compound choices and chassis setup directions. Ducati has tapped Bulega for GP27 development because of his superbikes experience and Pirelli knowledge, but his MotoGP seat for 2027 remains unresolved. The test serves dual purposes: advancing the prototype and showcasing Bulega's technical input as part of Ducati's talent evaluation. Development roles can act as auditions. Strong technical feedback can strengthen a rider's case for a future MotoGP opportunity. The Mugello outing reinforced that Ducati's GP27 project is evolving incrementally. Wind tunnel concepts are being validated on track, and packaging choices are being refined with rider input. The presence of both a veteran test rider and a superbike frontrunner accelerates the feedback loop. Early prototype tests rarely produce final shapes. They are about identifying promising directions and discarding dead ends quickly. Mugello's test was a purposeful step in Ducati's 2027 program: comparative aero work, targeted tire evaluation with Pirelli, and the pragmatic use of Bulega's experience to extract usable data. The session underlines Ducati's methodical approach: iterate, compare, and refine, rather than rush to a single concept. If the team continues to convert these test miles into coherent development decisions, the GP27 will arrive better understood, If conflicting data accumulates, Ducati may face tougher trade-offs before homologation. For now, Mugello strengthened the project's momentum and highlighted Bulega's growing technical relevance. Ducati's V2 Future Champ Academy is designed to produce more than fast pilots. It aims to train physically and mentally prepared professionals who understand nutrition, media, and career management, as well as on-track craft. We want something similar to what you see in Formula One, training not only in driving skills, but in everything that surrounds a driver. Domenicali acknowledged that Ducati's extraordinary run of titles and podiums has reached an inflection point. Rather than panic, he framed the shift as part of racing's cycle and an invitation to redouble development efforts. We wish it would never end, but it's part of the nature of racing. This is pure competition. Recognizing the end of a streak allows a team to pivot from nostalgia to proactive problem-solving. Marc Marquez's prolonged recovery from a serious shoulder injury has affected Ducati's early season dynamics. Domenicali admitted the injury's significance while stressing that it is one of several factors the factory must address. Marc's injury was more serious than it initially seemed. That has lengthened his recovery process and influenced this period. High-profile absences expose development gaps and force teams to accelerate testing and contingency plans. Ducati is using Nicolò Bulega's World SBK experience and Pirelli knowledge in GP27 development, involving him in tests and technical work. Domenicali confirmed interest in a Moto GP pathway but emphasized that any promotion must be carefully managed. We'd like to find a place for him in Moto GP. He will play an active role in the technical development of our future Moto GP project. Development roles can act as auditions. Strong technical feedback strengthens a rider's case for a future seat. Celebrating 100 years, Domenicali warned against dwelling on the past. His message: honor the brand's heritage but prioritize innovation and renewal to remain competitive. Companies with a long history run the risk of dwelling too much on the past. We don't want to succumb to nostalgia. We have to keep looking ahead. Balancing legacy with continuous reinvention is essential for long-lived manufacturers facing technical and competitive shifts. Domenicali's stance is pragmatic. Ducati recognizes a competitive reset and is responding with structural investments, an academy, targeted rider development, and focused technical work on the GP27. Marquez's recovery and broader technical challenges complicate the short term, but the factory's strategy aims to convert those complications into a renewed platform for success. If Ducati can translate development input from riders like Bulega and accelerate technical fixes, it should reassert itself. If not, the brand faces a longer rebuilding phase. For now, Ducati treats the moment as a challenge to be met rather than a crisis to be mourned. Aprilia framed Ougura's recruitment by Trackhouse as a far-sighted move that always carried the risk of a factory poach. The team accepted that talented riders will seek factory seats when opportunities arise, and Rivola praised Brivio's judgment in signing Ougura in the first place. When we signed him, we took into account the possibility that after 2 years, he might want a factory team, Brivio said. Rivola admitted the loss is disappointing. Ougura had shown pace and looked capable of a first podium, but he framed the departure as confirmation that Trackhouse made the right call originally. Aprilia's public tone combined regret with pragmatic acceptance. On the one hand, it's disappointing to lose a rider who has proven to be talented, but it's also fair to say that the choice was the right one. Public acceptance helps preserve relationships between teams and riders and keeps doors open for future collaboration. With Ougura leaving, Trackhouse must choose a successor quickly. Rivola expects a decision within a race or two. Brivio has signaled a preference for experience over a rookie, narrowing the market to proven winners and established performers. I don't think it's the right time to invest in a rookie right now. We think having experienced riders will allow us to better exploit the bike's potential. Prioritizing experience is a common strategy when a team seeks immediate results rather than a long development curve. Ougura's exit strengthens Raul Fernandez's prospects for a renewed Trackhouse deal and reshuffles the wider market. With factory seats and top-tier teams still negotiating lineups, one move can cascade into several others, affecting both rider careers and team strategies. Rider movement is rarely isolated. A single high-profile transfer often triggers a chain reaction across multiple teams. For Aprilia, losing Ougura is a reminder that talent retention is as important as talent acquisition. For Trackhouse, the choice of replacement will signal whether the team prioritizes immediate competitiveness or a longer development path. Both organizations must balance short-term performance with long-term planning. Ougura's move is a predictable consequence of strong performances and the lure of factory machinery. Aprilia's disappointment is real but measured, and the factory's endorsement of Brivio suggests confidence in Trackhouse's next step. The paddock will watch closely. If Trackhouse secures an experienced, race-winning replacement, the team can remain a front-running force. If it opts for a longer-term project rider, the short-term competitiveness may dip, but the future pipeline could strengthen. Either way, Ougura's transfer is another reminder that the 2027 reshuffle will be decisive for several teams' trajectories. Fernandez's assessment that the V4 is 30% different captures the scale of the redesign. Significant architectural changes have altered engine character and chassis interaction, but they haven't yet produced the handling balance Yamaha needs. The Jerez test exposed both progress and persistent deficits. That's why I'm here, to get more information. For sure, it's not easy to make a competitive bike in 1 year, but we'll get there. Substantial platform changes typically require multiple test cycles to stabilize. A single wildcard outing is a diagnostic step, not a final judgment. Riders reported a loss of the previous inline four's front-end confidence. Fernandez echoed Quartararo's view that the old M1's turning and grip at the front were exceptional, qualities the V4 has yet to replicate. That deficit showed most clearly on Jerez's technical sectors. Yamaha currently lacks a reliable baseline setup for the V4, Fernandez said, meaning engineers are still searching for the fundamental direction that will deliver consistent handling and pace. Identifying that base is the prerequisite for iterative gains. We still need to understand which direction we have to take. Establishing a repeatable baseline allows teams to separate tire, chassis, and aero variables, a critical step when a new engine architecture is introduced. The tight, twisty layout of Jerez magnified handling shortcomings while masking some of the V4's potential on power delivery. Fernandez could match rivals in parts of the lap but lost ground where front grip and turning mattered most. The result was a mixed weekend, promising wet condition pace but limited dry race competitiveness. Fernandez's wildcard roles served a clear technical purpose: gather data and accelerate understanding of the V4. With wildcard entries for factory test riders banned from 2027, Yamaha must extract maximum value from remaining opportunities and compress learning into official tests. Losing wildcard windows increases the premium on structured test plans and on-bike time during sanctioned sessions. Yamaha's V4 shows tangible evolution but not yet the competitive step the factory needs. The Jerez wildcard provided valuable clues, especially about front-end behavior and the absence of a stable base setting, but it also made clear that more development, testing, and time are required. If Yamaha can identify a reliable setup direction and translate test mileage into consistent front-end feel, the V4 can close the gap. If not, the deficit may persist into the mid-season and force harder strategic choices. For now, the message is cautious optimism. Progress is real, but the job is far from done. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your Moto GP news update. And see you next time!